Okay, I was looking at this map just last week and something really curious hit me. Probably happens more times than I care to mention. Now this is an old map of the New Forest. I've been to the New Forest countless times for many walks and I've never noticed this thing that I found on the map.
Well, this bothered me so much I thought I'd come and take a look myself. Is this really what the map said it was? Because I have my doubts. So I live around 45 minutes from here, the New Forest. Really gorgeous landscape, easy win for a walk, but by and large this landscape is very flat. And what's more, have a look at this. The soil here, it's really thin, sandy, it's really acidic. We've got bracken and gorse everywhere which thrives on this landscape. This isn't an ideal place to settle here and grow crops. This isn't the ideal place for
a hill fort. And yet, right here on this map, right in the middle of the New Forest, a hill fort that really shouldn't be here.
Okay, so I'm just in Row enclosure here, just the east of a place called Linwood, and we're looking on a map and we see something really curious. Castle Peace, it says. And if we look at a different map, we flip to a different scale, well, it says fort in Gothic writing. Now, I say we because today you'll notice for the eagle-eyed viewer, we have a guide on our journey through the forest, who is
Dave Ford from the YouTube channel Dave's Countryside Walks, and also accompanied by my Whippet Fiver, who you'll probably see later on.
Right, what do we got, Dave? What do we got?
So, in a good way, it's good that this track has gone through. So this is the northern side, and by cutting through, it gives us a great idea of the width of the bank.
Yeah. Really good indication of what we're looking at in terms of the layer, but scrolling over here, absolutely no ditch whatsoever. We just have a bank. I wonder if that's consistent.
It's big, isn't it? You know,
yeah, this is a fair size. Okay, well, we've just walked through from the north side to the south side of this hill fort. It's very oval. I reckon that's about 200 meters in diameter, and we do have again the same thing here on this edge. We have a big bank there, you can see, but we have no ditch once again on this side. We do have Iron Age finds here, but without a real archaeological formal dig, but we can't really give that too much in terms of the context. And we have another big elephant in the room to discuss, and that is just to the north of this enclosure. Come and take a look at this. I was hoping to show you from this eastern bank of this hill fort is the view this way, because there is no view. In fact, it carries on going uphill. This hill fort is not situated on a hilltop, not even close to it. We're kind of halfway down it. I can't show you that view north because we're just thick conifers in front of me, unfortunately. Right, Dave, I'm labelling this not a hill fort. I mean, it's very circular. We've got banks, but there's too many things that for me don't quite add up.
Fair enough. Well, there is another one that we can look at, also in the New Forest, that interestingly Historic England have labelled a hill fort.
Okay, right, let's go take a look.
So Ashurst was our next stop, and if we take a look at some of the archaeology on this place before we arrive, goodness me, this place looks like a real treat from many different eras. Firstly, we have Historic England suggesting this hill fort is at risk. So is this one really a hill fort?
Before we get there though, we are heading in from the south side down this valley here towards the Bewley River. Now, a 2012 study conducted here suggested that on this south side of the river there was Mesolithic activity, possibly in the form of heating and cooling flints. Add to that and we have really curious features like these Bronze Age barrows here, and just there by Dave as well. But we're not here for any of that. What we're here for is just down there before that tree line. The first thing Dave has just pointed out to me is this, we've just stepped inside this hill fort, and we have a Bronze Age barrow within the hill fort. But let's go back outside and have a look at the actual earthworks of this. Now, first inspection, it looks extremely round, but we're only talking less than my height. We're talking under 2 meters in terms of the internal bank there. And yeah, we can walk around a little bit of the ditch. We've got the counter scarp here, which is again very, very small, probably 1.5 feet. Okay, so what do we got here at Ashurst? Well, we've walked downhill to get to here. We have the Beaulieu River just behind us, bit of a glorified stream at the moment. And we have this perfectly rounded, well, bank and ditch, not much of a counterscarp. To my mind, this is absolutely not a hill fort. Maybe archaeology will tell us different one day, but I feel that this is a well-defended stock enclosure.
Okay, so as far as I was concerned, my original notion was right. The New Forest as a whole really doesn't contain many, or if any, hill forts in the traditional sense we would know. Yes, we have enclosures, well defended enclosures, but hill forts, no. So I sort of take one last look, one last search on the Hillfort Atlas. Fantastic website, I'll link it below.
Okay, so let's zoom into the New Forest. We are going to discount the enclosures and the hill forts that are on the edge or periphery of the New Forest. Now, we're left then with 2. Okay, so the first of those 2 is up here in the northeastern corner of the New Forest, almost the entrance to the New Forest, if you will, and we're right next to the A31 or the M27, hence the background noise you might be able to hear. And this, right here in front of us, looks and feels like a hill fort we know and love. This looks so much better already. So you said on the old maps, Dave, this was multivalent, so 2 perhaps at least ditch or banks.
Yeah, you got a smaller one on the outside. We were quite near the eastern entrance, and then there's a pretty impressive main bank that sort of circulated all the way around.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm just having a poke around on the inner bank. It's quite substantial. Now, archaeology also tells us that we really do have a hill fort here. In the 1970s, Betts came here and he did some archaeology on a trench that was being dug as part of the sewage works on the northern side. Not going there now because it's very noisy. And of course, within that, he found some ramparts, some wooden ramparts, or evidence that there was wooden ramparts on this. So we really do have that box ticked here. Now, sadly, there was a house built here in the late 1800s which destroyed some of the earthworks here, and when I say here, I mean right in the middle of the hill fort. But whatever, we can see that this place has a huge prominence in the landscape. This is a big tick for us. Now, we did say there were 2 that highlighted that we wanted to have a look at. This one here, sat on this northeastern corner, and we have another right down on the opposite side of the New Forest in the southwest. And that makes me think, could they in some way be linked? We have the main road right here next to us, a very old route. I wonder what it looks like down there. And here we are. Well, nearly. We're walking up the hill towards Castle Hill. Castle Hill. Already. Well, as we head south from where we parked in the distance, we feel like we're walking along almost a ridge along the side of the valley to our right, to our west. So perhaps we're starting to now consider a link between here and the opposite side of the New Forest, back with Malwood. So this site up ahead is supposed to hold some of the best views in the New Forest. The LiDAR here really highlights why that might be the case. This does add some weight to my idea. So I think we've just come through what is now the northern entrance. I doubt there was an entrance here, but we've got earthworks all the way around the side there, and we've got all the way on this side as well. This is the eastern side, earthwork line going all the way there past Dave's head, all the way up there. This is a fair size hill fort, and I've not even looked at the ramparts yet, but almost you can feel this is a much better example of a hill fort. This feels like I'm in somewhere like Danebury or Bradbury Rings or something like that. We've got a clear, huge acreage in the middle here. There we are, right, significant bank there, and if we step in front of it, 2 things to show you. Really big ditch on this southern side, big counterscarp. There we go, through there. Hopefully you can see that, hopefully it comes down camera. Big bank, big ditch. This is much more hill fort like. This appears like Malwood on the other corner, as we said. And here's the best bit. I've saved this best bit till last. I'm going to try and catch Dave up. Forgive the out of breath unfitness. As we come through here, this is what it's all about. And here we are, and wow, what a view. Probably windy, forgive that, but everything becomes a bit clearer when we start appreciating this magnificent view. But not only the view, also the nature of the routes around us.
Consider this Malwood, very much on a route that has been there for thousands of years. A Roman road lies right by it, which itself likely follows an ancient route before it. Then to the coast, Hengistbury Head and the port there, the very old port.
So why the need for this? Perhaps not quite as easy to work out the need for this hill fort, but I think things might become a bit easier when we flip again to the map.
Let's take the route down to the trading post that is Hengistbury Head from northeast of this land. We come in via the top of the Solent and we climb the ridge that will lead us over this land before we drop down to the coast. We follow that route and we end up close to now Ringwood, but we aren't at the coast yet. So we continue south along this ridge, directly south, and we are still on the high and dry ground away from the swamp and the marsh below us, and that route itself now becomes clear. But we need a rest stop, a marketplace, a defendable policing trade monitoring rest stop.
And we have this. Now, hill forts in their different guises, well, I'm sure they had many different uses depending on the location, and maybe hill forts themselves saw different uses over time. We're talking an entire era, the Iron Age. Now this one here, we don't have any archaeology per se on it, but my guess would be if we did do some archaeology, we wouldn't necessarily see occupation in the sense that we see like Danebury Hill Fort or Maiden Castle. I don't think this was a lived-in space. Instead, I think we'd see something different.
Instead, we would see items associated with metalworking, equine paraphernalia, a site perhaps associated with trade and monitoring what's going in and out, what's being imported.
If we head continuing to the west, well, we end up in that valley, in my opinion, largely impassable. You need to stay on the ridge, and if you did that, you'd come across this hill fort where if you were in control of this hill fort, you would be able to monitor everything that went through it towards the coast. Hugely important. What a wonderful landscape the New Forest is, and if you'd like a much more deeper dive into some of the wonderful tales and the landscape of the New Forest, you need to go and follow this man and Fiver, the Whippet, the lovable Whippet. Dave's Countryside Walks will tell you everything you need to know about the landscape. Go subscribe.